It's the middle of the night. You roll over and there's barely any room left on the mattress because somehow every single night your dog ends up exactly where you are. Not on the dog bed you bought, not on the cool tile floor, not on the couch downstairs, right next to you. Most owners explain this away in one sentence. He just likes comfort. But that explanation falls apart the second you actually think about it. Comfort doesn't explain species crossing behavior. What your dog is doing every night is something researchers have spent the last decade studying in laboratories, and the explanation isn't about comfort at all. It's about survival instinct, brain chemistry, and 15,000 years of shared history. Let's be with the warmth and comfort theory first, because it sounds logical. Dogs like warm, soft places, so they pick the bed. Except dogs in most homes have better warm options: a sunbeam on the carpet, a heating vent, a pile of blankets on the floor. If temperature were the deciding factor, your dog would rotate between spots depending on the room. Instead, the same dog night after night picks the one spot that's harder to get to, less spacious, and shared with a much bigger animal. That's not a comfort decision. In the animal kingdom, sleep is the single most dangerous state a creature can be in. No awareness, no defense, completely exposed. Every instinct your dog inherited from its wild ancestors should be telling it to find a hidden defensible spot. Instead, it clings onto an open mattress next to something 15 times its size. That contradiction is the clue. In the early 2010s, a team of researchers in Hungary borrowed a test originally designed to study human babies. The same test developmental psychologists use to measure whether an infant is purely attached to its parent. They ran a modified version on dogs and their owners. The results match almost exactly what you would see in human toddlers. Most dogs sought out their owners the moment they felt uneasy, calmed down quickly once reunited, and used their owners as what psychologists call a secure base, a safe point to return to before exploring again. That's not a coincidence. It means the bond your dog forms with you isn't just loyalty or training. It's functionally the same attachment system a human child uses with a parent. When your dog presses against you at 2 a.m., it isn't being needy. It's running the exact same psychological program a toddler runs when it reaches for a parent's hand in the dark. Here's where it stops being just behavior and becomes biology. In a now well-known Japanese study, researchers measured a hormone called oxytocin, the same chemical that spikes in a parent's brain when they hold their newborn, in dogs and owners during eye contact. When a dog looks at its owner and the owner looks back, both of their oxytocin levels rise at the same time. The rise in the dog makes it want to keep looking. The rise in the owner makes them want to keep looking back. It's a feedback loop, and when the same researchers tested it with hand-raised wolves, the loop simply didn't happen. Wolves don't have it, dogs do. Physical closeness amplifies this loop. Studies on petting alone show measurable drops in stress hormones within minutes in both the human and the dog. Now scale that up to 8 hours of physical contact overnight, and you start to understand why your dog isn't choosing the floor. This isn't a modern habit. Dogs are the only animal humans domesticated before farming, before permanent settlements, before written language. Somewhere around 15,000 years ago, the wolves that lingered closest to human fires, the one least afraid of people, survived better and passed that trait on. Archaeologists have found burial sites in Europe over 14,000 years old where dogs were buried alongside humans, not discarded, not separate, but placed together deliberately. In at least one documented case, the dog had survived a serious illness for weeks, which would have required someone caring for it the entire time. These were not working tools, they were already sent. Geneticists have since found some something even stranger. Dogs carry specific genetic markers. Variations wolves don't have linked directly to extreme social ability and seeking out human contact. Your dog isn't choosing to sleep next to you. In a very real sense, it was read too. Here's the part almost nobody expects. Several sleep studies using motion trackers on both dogs and owners have found that dogs objectively disturb human sleep, repositioning, stretching, taking up space throughout the night. And yet, when those same participants were asked how they felt the next morning, the overwhelming majority reported feeling safer, calmer, and more rested with their dog in the room, despite the data showing more physical interruptions, not fever. Follow-up research using heart rate variability monitoring offers a possible answer. Dogs and their owner show synchronized nervous system patterns during rest, calm down together, testing together, a pattern that didn't appear at all when dogs were placed with unfamiliar people. Whatever is happening, it isn't just in your head. Two nervous systems from two different species regulating each other through the night. This is the part worth remembering. If your dog has slept beside you for months or years and suddenly stopped, don't brush it off as a phase. Sometimes it's environmental, a new pet, a schedule change, something in the home that feels different to them. But sometimes it's physical. A change in where our dog chooses to sleep is one of the earliest behavior signs of pain or discomfort, often showing up before limping or any visible symptom. In older dogs, disrupted sleep habits are also one of the first signs of canine cognitive decline. Your dog can't tell you in words. Behavior is only language it has. A sudden change in something this consistent is worth paying attention to. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m. with no blanket and a dog rests against your legs, remember what's actually happening. Out of every sport in the house, your dog chooses you not because it's easier, not because it's warmer, but because 15,000 years of shared history. Why it to believe that the safest place in its world is right next to yours. If this changed or you think about your dog, subscribe and tell me in the comments, where does your dog sleep tonight?